Hi, Kyia. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So this podcast is about just getting to know some of our Alberta handball players a little more. And since you're one of our young players that has a lot of potential and has a bright future, just wanted to talk to you and so people can kind of see where your goals are with handball. So
Okay.
first thing is if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, like how old you are, how you kind of got in handball.
Okay. So I'm 16 now, and I started playing junior high. I hadn't ever heard of it or anything before, but then I was left-handed, so it helped me go on the team because my coach did not think that I was very good. So I played 1 year in grade 7, and then in grade 8 I played again, but for senior. And then I got recruited to come try out for Alberta, and I had no hope of making the team. I didn't think I'd make it at all.
Mhm.
But then I made it, so I was super excited for it. And then yeah, I just kind of started to really have a passion for it and love playing with it and the team dynamic and everything. I really liked it.
What junior high did you go to?
FR Haythorne,
And what grade did you start?
7.
So grade 7, you were on their junior team.
Yeah.
At that time, did you remember how many junior high schools they were playing at, like provincials?
I have no clue.
Okay. Did you guys win?
Yeah.
And then in grade 8, you were on the junior or senior team,
Senior.
and then grade 9 as well.
Yeah.
When you were in grade 9, were you already on the Alberta team?
Yeah.
Okay, so in your grade 8 summer. So, uh, were you playing as a wing there with your team in
Yeah.
junior high? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
what other
started.
sports were you playing at that time?
Just school basketball, I think,
Okay.
and or I played league basketball as well.
Okay. And so then the first time I remember seeing you play is I didn't really remember. I mean, I organized the tournament, so I don't get to watch a lot, but
Yeah.
I remember it was Interzone's tryouts at Bethesda, and I was watching you shoot from wing, and I asked the person in charge of your club, Sherwood Park, I'm like, who's that? And they're like, that's Kai. I'm like, do you know if she's trying out for Alberta? And he's like, I think she is. But there was some kind of confusion, and I couldn't find your name on registration. So just kind of funny. Going forward, do you kind of remember the tryouts for the youth development program?
Yeah, I was so scared, very nervous to play. I remember seeing the elite team, and
Yeah.
I just thought that they were incredible, watching them play. So I wanted to try and push myself to get to that level.
And do you remember around how many people were at tryouts for the youth development in your season?
Um, I think maybe 60, but I'm not sure.
Oh, that, yeah, I think that was about right. So going ahead, so again, tryouts were at the end of May. So June, July, we were training. Going
Yeah,
into August, your first trip was Germany? No,
Serbia.
Serbia.
Yeah.
Serbia. So going into Serbia, like, what did you expect before you got there? So what were your expectations?
I had no clue what it was gonna be like. I thought that we would probably win a few games and lose some. I was really nervous to play higher level. I'd never experienced any high level games, but
And so you got there uh, on after a long bus ride from where'd you guys land again?
I think
Budapest?
Hungary maybe.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Budapest or something. And then you got there. Uh, and then so your first game was against, I think they're U16 champions,
Yeah.
if I recall. And so going into that game, do you remember a lot about that game?
I remember just being holy, I had no clue that the sport was like that physical, that fast or anything.
And did you enjoy it, or were you like freaked out or discouraged or anything? Or
I really liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun because I like running and getting fast breaks and stuff.
yeah,
So to me, that was really eye opening of just how like much more the sport is.
Yeah, and you guys did well that game. I think we only lost by 4 or 5. I think
Yeah,
remembering your group of at that time, the most of the group was 13 to 15 years old, and you guys like were super competitive.
yeah.
Do you remember if you won any games in Serbia?
Um, I think I think we got really close with a lot, but I don't know if we actually won any.
Okay, and after Serbia coming home, like were you discouraged or like more motivated to keep on working? Like how were your feelings like not being as successful in your first trip?
It made me wanted to push myself more to get better, to try and actually win against teams and be more successful.
Yeah. Going ahead, then you played club. Your last summer trip was well then you went into your grade 9 junior high year. And
Yeah.
now when you went into that, what's the difference between like playing Alberta, traveling to at that point you also went to Japan, correct?
Yeah.
And so sorry, maybe I went too fast, but how do you compare Japan to Serbia?
I think Japan, the games were faster and it wasn't like physical. It was more just like they pass and just do quick one-on-ones.
Which kind of style did you like better?
Japan's.
And which trip did you like better?
Um, I liked Japan more.
Any reasons why?
I liked when we got to play the national team. That was like cool because it was just a lot of new experiences. And
Yeah, that
then
was pretty. Sorry, go on. Go on.
I like to like travel to the games and stuff,
Yeah.
like how we got to play a whole bunch of different places and everything.
And that was pretty cool when we got to play their national team at their Olympic Center for Tokyo 2020, and we had
Yeah,
like have security and security checks and everything. That was pretty neat.
yeah, it was amazing.
Um, so after that, you went back to now, and then you went back to school handball, which was your grade 9 junior high year.
Yeah.
Now, when you went back, well, how do you compare the difference between what you've gone in the last 8 months, going to Japan, Serbia, playing club, playing Alberta, now going back to junior high?
Probably just the intensity and like the will of people really wanting to be there.
Yeah.
I think that's a big difference. And then just the speed of the game.
And I think that year when in grade 9, you guys won in grade 9, there was, I think, like 50 teams in the tournament in the junior high provincials. Um, do you do you think at that point in junior high, it just so many of the kids are just figuring out the sport, so
Yeah,
it just your experience was just much higher than a lot of other players?
probably. Like a lot of people don't know the full rules of it, so it takes time for the refs to like tell them where to go and everything. So
Yeah,
that contributes a lot to it.
yeah. And then you went into Sweden, Denmark
Yeah.
with I mean, your team is a great team. What were your experiences in Sweden, Denmark?
I think it was very humbling to me of how I needed to really work on my shot a lot.
Yeah.
And like just to I needed to get way stronger to try and beat them one-on-ones and everything.
Do you think you had a good tournament, or like both tournaments, or
Um, I think I played better in Denmark.
in Denmark? Okay. Where your teams were pretty successful though, right? Your team
Yeah, Denmark. We almost made it to like semi, like not finals, but like quarters. I think.
semifinals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So how do you compare Sweden, Denmark compared to Japan and Serbia, since those were tournaments compared to more of camps in the other places?
I really like Sweden, Denmark. How it was just like the amount of teams there, like the Partille Cup or whatever.
Yeah,
Like that was insane to see how many teams there were and from
yeah,
everywhere. Just
yeah.
the experience that you got.
And then from there, I mean, the big difference that I saw in you after that was that your commitment to the sport. You can see after your first year, I think, in my opinion, in your grade 9 year, you still were undecided if it's handball or basketball, or
Yeah.
what you really want to focus in. And I think the summer of Sweden, Denmark, which was last summer, your focus went into more of handball. And
Yeah.
I mean, as I tell you, you're a special handball player and you have so much potential. At that point, you were 15, correct?
Yeah.
And I asked you to come and join our senior provincial team at that point. Now, going into September, when you started training with our senior team, how what were your expectations just going into the season and the start of the September, like being able to train with, all the best players in Alberta?
I was really nervous. I don't think I was prepared for how much they work and how like just strong players they are.
Yeah,
So I think it really helped me to like train with them and stuff because it pushes you to try and be better.
yeah. Were you like looking back? Was it a good experience?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the funny thing about it all is, um, the right wing position is one of our stronger positions. We have a lot of amazing young right wingers,
Yeah.
and going into the season, um, a couple of the older ones, Maxie and Sol, were a little intimidated by you because of like your potential. But I think something that handball brings is there's that competitiveness. But as you now, they're one of you, like they're super close friends with you, which was nice to see, where you guys still have a competitive edge with each other, but you're friends. So I mean,
Yeah.
I think that was nice to see, and I know that from your side you do look up to them as well. So it's a good competitive edge.
Yeah.
You were supposed to go to Germany with the senior team, but then you got hurt.
Yeah.
So then you couldn't, but then you came to California with the senior team. Now, how
Yeah.
was that experience being able to play with them?
That was like I was so nervous before every game just because I don't think I had ever played like that age level, like and strength and skill, or to be playing with that like our national team.
Yeah,
Or yeah.
provincial team. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, was the intensity just at another level with those
Yeah.
players?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was like trying to sprint every time and just like they're always looking for fast breaks and always like they just know when to pass and stuff. It's
so what made you like? What are the when you went into this season and playing with the seniors? What made you commit to making like handball your number one? A big thing is you played school basketball, and I mean, I think, I'm pretty sure you told your basketball coach that handball is your number one priority, and you
yeah.
made that your number one priority. What in handball makes like that you fell in love with, that made you commit to it, that made it your number one sport?
I think just how the team is so like it's in just such a good unity and everyone tries to be their best and everyone's so determined
Yeah.
to try and win and stuff. And I just like pushing myself to be the best that I can. And I think that's something that a lot of players in handball do.
Yeah.
So I think it's like I can relate to them with it.
And what it like for you as yourself, do you just like when you go to practices, you just always know that there's things to work on and you kind of love that there's always those new challenges?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always thinking like, oh, today I have to work on this. And just thinking next shot, okay, I've got to get my knee up or my arm's got to be back.
Yeah. And what's your like when it comes to handball, and what's the difference between handball and basketball? Like what made you pick handball over basketball?
I feel like I'm so much more like motivated for handball, like the coaching and then just the practices, the intensity, and I just love the sport, like getting able to jump and shoot and the speed and everything.
Okay, that's interesting. You're going to go into your first high school season, and uh, COVID kind of wrecked that. But now we're starting to get back into handball. You did some outdoor practices. Yesterday was your first beach handball. What were your experiences in beach?
It's a lot harder than I thought. It's hard to try and do one-on-ones in the sand and get height when you're
Yeah,
jumping in sand.
is
Yeah.
it tiring?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're missing a couple players. It was probably pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so what are some of your goals? Like, do you have goals to play with the national team?
I definitely want to try and get more experience on the provincial team and then doing like the runs for the Quebec team. I'm hoping that I can do more with that.
With the national team?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so you're part of the program right now with Team Canada?
Yeah.
Okay, and they might be going to World Championships from what I
Yeah.
know. Yeah. Is there a decision if they're going, or is it like depending on COVID?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Um, so what are some of your goals with handball, like with Alberta, with national team, and as well with like when you're done high school, are some of your goals to play overseas? If you can tell me a little bit about some of your goals in handball.
I'm not sure if I want to play overseas or not yet. I know I
Yeah,
want to definitely continue
yeah,
till I don't know when, but I want to just push myself to see how far I can go and the opportunities that you can get.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, is traveling one of the big things that it entice you to play? Like, you love the traveling of it?
I like the traveling, but to me it's like you're traveling to play. Like you're not going just to lounge at the beach or whatever. Like you're going
Yeah.
to be ready to play.
So for you, it's not really like when we start planning our trips, it's more for you, it's about the games and making sure that you're getting the best experience more than, oh, we're going to Portugal, we're going to Martinique, or
Yeah.
those kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, uh, the ultimate goal, I think, is for you is, like you said, it's probably to get better and to just continue to grow as a player and see where it kind of takes you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, if you could, like, going into the last season, and what was kind of your schedule for handball in a week?
Like for when I went with the like practice with provincial team.
Yeah, with club, provincial team, like overall schedule, like on a basic week with games and everything.
In like January, I think we had like three or four practices a week,
Yeah.
including camps on the weekends. So yeah.
And then you would have games.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
games on Saturdays, I think.
Yeah. Saturdays or Sundays, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so to finish it off, I'm going to ask you some fun questions. Okay.
Okay.
Um, so first of all, what's your favorite handball game you've played?
Um, Probably one in California. The first one, I think, just because I felt so like into the game and just like ready to push myself.
Do you remember who that was? Chicago? Was
Yeah.
that the team that was yelling at us because of Stickum so
Yeah.
much? Yeah. And then you guys continue just to put more Stickum on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Out of all the trips you've been on, so you've been to Martinique, you've been to Sweden, Denmark,
Yeah.
California, Japan, and Serbia.
And then Texas.
Oh yeah, Texas as well. And you've played handball for 2 years with Alberta, correct? 2 full
Yeah.
years. What was your favorite trip?
Um, Probably Sweden and Denmark.
Just for the experience of like so many teams.
Yeah.
And in Sweden and Denmark, you made a good friend there as well, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what country was she from?
Norway.
She didn't like you, eh?
No.
No, that was a funny one. Um, so out of all the trips, Sweden and Denmark was your favorite.
Yeah.
Um, what now? Obviously, you've been with many teams. If you can pick three other people to stay in your room out of all the players, who would it be? But for not for a fun time, just to be in the room and have a lot of laughs and have a good time.
Probably three people.
Yeah, like a room of
Al-
four. Yeah.
Alex, Sol, and probably Katie.
Okay. Yeah, those were pretty easy ones to kind of pick. Who's
Yeah.
the who's the messiest person for a room?
Um, I think in Serbia, our room was such a mess. It was probably like Emily, James.
Oh yeah, that's good. So I think that's pretty much it. Going forward, um, are you excited to get kind of back into handball and get to practice again, and just
Yeah.
after having such a big break?
Yeah, definitely. I'm
Yeah,
excited to have like the routine again.
yeah. Um, and so now you're 16 years old, and
Yeah.
hopefully trying to get your driver's license now to be able to drive yourself to practice.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure your I'm sure your
fun.
parents are excited about that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like I've always said, um, you're one of our great young talents. You have such a bright future in handball. You're great attitude. You're such a hard worker. I'm lucky to coach you, so I know you pretty well. And I just wanted to have you on because just kind of your quick journey of handball and where you've gone so far. And in 2 years, if you look back and all the trips you've gone, it's pretty incredible to see what you've done with the sport. And um, hopefully, you continue to work and get those goals that you want. And handball in the future is whatever you want. We're going to make a beach handball national team, we hope, so we could make the Olympics in beach handball.
We should.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you for doing this, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon, Kaya. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.